Hey, welcome back to Blank Dice. My name is Baruch, and this is another overhaul video. These are all the games I picked up from December 2020 to January 2021. I really enjoy doing videos like this because it helps me keep track of the games I'm bringing in, because I tend to circulate games regularly. Bringing in new games, getting rid of games that I'm not playing anymore, but I know that someone else will enjoy. I also tend to like videos like this because it helps certain gamers find a niche product or something they may have never heard of before. So yeah, that being said, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So like I said, this is just a list of all the games I picked up from December 2020 to January 2021, and we'll start that off with a game called Meisterium Park. I think by this point many people have heard of Meisterium, but I don't think as many people are familiar with Meisterium Park. This is actually a version of Meisterium that you can play over Discord or Skype or anything else like that. This is, how do I describe this? This is really just Dixit meets Codenames. That's all this game is. But it has a little bit of a story. I actually pulled out some cards so you could take a look at them. You are trying to find the murderer and the location that the murder is taking place. Every player plays as a spiritual medium, and one person plays as a ghost, calling out, not calling out, handing out these clue cards that all have these very, very beautiful images on it. Look at that. These are gorgeous images. And they're very abstract. So you're using these clues to help deduce who was the murderer. Was it this person or was it that person? Yeah. I mean, that's just an example. I just pulled out some random cards so you could take a look. But yeah, Meisterium Park, a really fun game. I've already played this online with a few friends. I actually have the original Meisterium. This is a separate game. This is a standalone game. This is not an expansion. Although you basically could use this as an expansion if you really wanted to, just a little finagling. But yeah, Meisterium is a fun game. Give it a shot. The only problem is after you play it with the same group of people about 4, maybe even to 7 times, after you've played it around that many times, you basically know what everyone at the table is thinking, so you could figure stuff out pretty quickly. Other than that, it is pretty good. It's a great way to get people to sit down and actually learn about how they think and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a fun game. Give it a shot. The next game on the list is Shoten Toten 2. I love Shoten Toten. I love the original version. I have purchased this game about 3 or 4 different times from different publishers, just because I enjoy the game and also because I wanted to see the various art styles. Now this is Shoten Toten 2. I have talked extensively on this particular game in my 4 games better than Uno list, but this wasn't out at the time, and this would have surely been on that list. And I'm really excited to give this game a shot. I have not played this one. I've for the most part been in quarantine, so a lot of these 2-player games where you need to sit together, I have not had a chance to play. But what separates this one, this Shoten Toten versus the other ones? Well, this one is asymmetric. The original Shoten Toten, you are playing cards to build a better hand of 3 cards. Whoever has a better hand wins an objective. This is slightly different. It's asymmetric, like I said, where you now have objectives. For example, this objective right here is you need 3 cards of the same value. And once you've done that, you've broken through the defenses, and you now need 3 cards of, I think, ascending or descending order. So, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And this objective, let's let that focus, is you need 4 cards. And if you've beaten that, your opponent now only needs to put 2 cards of equal value. So the objectives change, and now the defending army now gets oil tokens, and I'm not 100% sure what the oil tokens have done. I haven't read the rules for this extensively yet, but like I did say, I haven't played it yet, but I have played Shoten Toten or Battle Line or every other name that this game is calling under, and I love each and every one. And this one I know is going to be good, or at least I really hope it is. I don't have too much to say about this game. Small Samurai Empires. I just saw it on the shelf. I liked that cover and said, you know what, I'm gonna pick that up. All I know, and this is from the back of the box, it's got, you know, little meeples that are all unique to each faction, and it's a programming game, and there's a bunch of different tokens in this. I'll open it up real quick. And like I said, I saw this on the shelf and picked it up. The rule book is thick. Wow, that's a lot of rules. No, they're lying to you. It's actually only about 15 pages. Yeah, 15 pages, because the rule book is in multiple languages. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually think the rest of the game is language independent. So it just means you have to memorize what each symbol does, and then there's no other words in the game. But yeah, the cool little meeples. I think that's kind of like the draw point or the selling point for a lot of people. Just a really cool meeples and the programming aspect to it. I like programming games. I actually don't mind them. I have a lot of fun with them. I like samurai style games. Battle for Rokugan being my absolute favorite. So I hope that this can live up to that. We'll see. Speaking of programming games, Colt Express is a fantastic programming game, but this little guy right here, Colt Super Express, is a much smaller version of Colt Express. Colt Express is a programming game where every player has a little meeple that is, actually I could open this up, that is a cowboy or cowgirl, whatever word you choose to use, and you guys are moving across this 3D terrain, and you guys are trying to shoot each other to get points and steal bags of gold. You guys are punching each other. It's a lot of fun. The standard Colt Express is a fantastic game. Go try it. But this is that full game with the 3D terrain all miniaturized, because instead of having 3D trains, you have cards. Yeah, I thought this was pretty smart. And as the game is progressing, you actually start to lose carts off of the train. But what ends up happening is the carts are worth currency, money, points. There you go. Whoever has the most points by the end of the game wins, and each train has an entirely different value on it. Let's see if we can get that in focus. Each train has its own different value. So you're all it feels balanced. I've played this at least twice already. It's very balanced, I think. I feel as if it's balanced because it is a chaotic party game more than it is anything else. But if you've played Colt Express, the original version of Colt Express, and you liked it, give this a shot. This is a much simpler, much smaller version of that. If you don't like programming games, don't bother picking this up. This is not going to be the game that convinces you. At least I think it's not going to be the game that convinces you. I will definitely play it more, and I really want to do just kind of like a general overview on games, a deep dive of programming games. It's a mechanic I tend to love in games. I will also say there is one issue with this game that some people might not like. There is player elimination. For how short this game is, I don't have an issue with the player elimination, because the game only is 15 minutes. I don't think I haven't had a game go over 15. So give this a shot. The game does cost about $15. That's reasonable price, I think. I think that's enough for a gamble to go, maybe we'll like this, maybe we won't. But yeah, like I said, if programming games not your thing, forget about it. Don't even look at this. I do tend to pick up duplicates of the same game I already own, just in case I want to introduce more people to that game. But I picked up Epic. I picked up another copy of Epic. This was on sale for like $2. It's like $16. I found it for like $2-3. So my father and I picked up a couple copies of this. This is actually my copy right over here. My heavily played and used copy of Epic. It's basically, it's basically Magic the Gathering. Except simplified and with different kind of art style. There's only like 4 factions in this. So you got like the light faction, which is dragons, angels, and then you have the demon faction. You got a ghoul right there, a little demon dude, Kong, a giant gorilla. What else do we have? Dinosaurs, and there should be like robots and dinosaurs in the blue one too. Yeah, so this is really simple. It's like Magic the Gathering, but simplified, I guess. And this is actually the whole game, right? Like you just buy one of these and this is it. This is all the cards you need to play, plus the tokens, which are double-sided, and the rule book. But there's actually a pretty comprehensive explanation of how to play online. I forgot the designer's name, but this is White Wizard Games. They're the ones that put this out. If you go to White Wizard Games, their YouTube channel, they have very in-depth explanation of how to play their games. And if you're not playing any White Wizard games, you're hurting yourself, because these games are relatively inexpensive and they're great games. So go check them out. Speaking of White Wizard Games, this right here is the sequel to one of my favorite games of all time, Hero Realms. Hero Realms is a deck builder game that if you're not familiar with, I'm serious, go give it a shot. The base game is about $15. This is the campaign. This is the Lost Village campaign. I mean, this really is one of my favorite games of all time. I have played Hero Realms dozens of times. Now, it might sound familiar to another White Wizard game called Star Realms. And yes, they're actually the exact same game, except different themes. I prefer the Hero Realms. This one really just tickles my fancy, especially since in this one we can now go through an entire campaign. You can go solo or with your friends, and you're making decisions to go down a narrative, and you're developing a character. You're not only are you building a deck that you're taking through the adventure, you're also gaining skills and levels. And all I'm going to say is go give Hero Realms a shot. Like I said, the base game is about $15, and that's a great try. Or it's a great price to go try a game. So yeah, Hero Realms, this is the campaign expansion. I've been spending too much time playing games by myself, so I decided to get more RPGs to get my Discord group playing more games. But all that ended up doing is making me go buy more RPGs for solo play. And Into the Dungeon is one of them. Into the Dungeon is a light, I don't want to call it an RPG, because it is and it isn't. Basically, you create a character. Here's a character sheet back here. Oh, wait. Here's the character sheets back here. You roll up a character and you go through the book with that character you created, and you kind of have an idea of who your character or who you're playing, and as you go through you read the prompts, and then it tells you what page to go to, and you make decisions. This is a choose your own adventure game. That's really what it is. But what they call it, the reason it feels like an RPG is because you're rolling the dice and you're making a character. There's even achievements all the way in the back, which I think are a little bit like spoilers. I think they're spoilers, but this is the achievement page right here. This is a lot of fun. This little game, I don't think this game costs more than $10. It's relatively inexpensive, and the artwork in it is pretty good. So if you don't want to make a character, these are the actual characters you can go through, or you can play as. I've played this twice already, and I have died both times. But Into the Dungeon is so much fun. And if any of the people who worked on this are watching this video, or if this video gets to them, I love what you've done. And if you guys decide to make more, I would love to pick those up. I mean, if you're into solo games in general, take a look at picking some of these up, because these are a lot of fun. So yeah, Into the Dungeon. Another light RPG I have not played yet, but I just picked this up because I'm excited to try it with my Discord group, is Business Wizards. This, from my understanding, is a light RPG with, look at that, it's adorable, with adorable artwork, and all everybody needs is a pen, a piece of paper, and one set of polyhedral dice. So basically, one person has the D4, one person has the D6, one has the D8 and the other has the D10, and I think that's all the dice you use. And you guys are going through, I guess, a dungeon or a trial, I think it was, and you are trying to come out with more money than you went in there with, because I guess casting spells cost money or something like that. Now, I haven't played this game yet. Keep that in mind. I have not played this. But just looking at this artwork, I mean, it's definitely caught my attention. It's super cute. It's bubbly. I'm kind of down with that. That's pretty tight. I'm excited to try this with my Discord group. And this was another game. This one cost me like $15 actually. But if this is good, they says there's more games in the series. So if this is good, you know I'm going to be buying the rest of them, because I think that's actually, you know, $10 to $15 is pretty inexpensive. But this looks like a fun RPG. The beautiful thing about RPGs in general is that they can tell captivating, deep stories. This game caught my attention by just the blurb on the front of the box. Alice is missing, a silent role-playing game. That sold me right there. I read that and I picked it up and said, that's going home with me. End of discussion. And I turned it over and I kept looking at everything else, and this truly caught my attention. I can't wait to play this. All I know that's in here is a deck of cards, a rule book, and I believe there's a QR code that leads you to a soundtrack that you can play while you and your friends sit down and play this. The entire game is taking place as you guys are texting back and forth. You can't verbally communicate. You're reading the cards, and that's limiting the amount of information the players are able to give to each other. That is a fascinating concept, and I cannot wait to get this to the table. So if you're into RPGs, if you're into narrative experiences, maybe this is something to try. I don't know. I'm super excited to try this out. Alice is missing. For the last thing I picked up, well, the last two things I picked up were both for the Fantasy Trip. Now, this is one of my favorite RPGs. The Fantasy Trip is a little bit grindy. It's an RPG from the 70s and 80s, so it's very dangerous. Every encounter, as small or insignificant as it feels like, could actually be your character's last encounter. A simple stab in the back from a hobgoblin could drop you and kill you and end your campaign right then and there. I'm not going to go too much into that for this video, but I do want to show you the things I picked up for this game. But I will also say I will link you to the free rules so you can play a melee character and you and your friends can go fight each other with the Fantasy Trip rules, because everybody should be playing Fantasy Trip. It's one of the better RPGs out there. I think so, because it's just fun and dangerous, and it's intense and scary because, like I said, every stupid encounter could be your character's end. I like that. It's not for everybody, but like I said, I'll link you to the rules. Anyways, what I ended up picking up was the adventures, Fantasy Trip Adventures. In this book, there are 5 full campaigns from beginning to end, and characters that you can add, and the monsters you'll be fighting. But if you do like Fantasy Trip and you do want to pick this up, it actually comes in this box right here. I love this art. This is awesome art. It's like kind of like a thick cardboard box. The reason it comes in this is because there's character cards, there's charts and like item charts and stuff like that, like if you pick up gold or whatever, and tokens, and what was the other thing? What are called mega hexes? Because see how this is in the shape of hexes. Everything in this game takes place on hexes, the movement and everything, and yeah, so it comes with all that. Everything is in this box that you need to play, and all the rules are right there in the booklet. Character tokens, chits, and everything. I love this. If you like Fantasy Trip, pick this up. Go do it now. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. And the final thing I picked up, the last thing I picked up, was I think the best purchase I did out of everything I've done for the past 2 months. This right here was the best thing I bought. Fantasy Trip's The Red Crypt. What is The Red Crypt? It is a 1v1 or a solo campaign for the Fantasy Trip. What that means is you take one player as a dungeon master, game master, you take one playable character through this campaign, this whole story right here, where they're making decisions, they're deciding which path to go down, what to do. This was the best thing I did, and I'm not going to get into spoilers for this, but all I'm going to say is that I love this. This was a lot of fun, and Steve Jackson Games, if you somehow hear about this video and you see this, if any of you work for Steve Jackson Games, please pump out more of these single shots. These are so much fun. In this booklet, if you've never played Fantasy Trip, in this booklet there are 2 characters that you can just pick from right here. Pick one of these and go through the adventure. Or if you have a character you've gone through for years, you can go through this adventure with them. I can't wait to take the rest of my party through this adventure. But here's the thing: is it is just 1v1, so it's the game master and 1 player. Or if you want to, you can play this solo, play it by yourself. Whichever way you want to. Either way, this costs about $7 to $10, somewhere in that range. I don't actually remember. You got to forgive me for that one. But this was super cheap, and like I said, the melee rules I referenced earlier, if you want to, you can actually even use just those rules and go through this book. There's so much you can do with this. This is so much fun. I mean it. Steve Jackson Games, if you make another one of these, please advertise that as much as possible. Make more of these. Please pump these out. I love these things. That being said, that's everything I picked up from December 2020 all the way to January 2021. Is that what year we're in? Yeah, that's what year we're in. Oof, this time is going by fast. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Mad love, and I hope to do more. Alright, see ya.